Hello everyone, welcome to Big Data Thoughts. Today we are going to talk about Azure Synapse Analytics. What is it? How was it? Like formally, what was it? What are the features? What are the different components or the terms that are associated with Azure Synapse Analytics? We would talk about those. So let's get started. First of all, what is Azure Synapse Analytics? So Azure Synapse Analytics is a SaaS offering by Microsoft, and it comes as a part of Azure subscription, or it is a service, software as a service on Azure cloud, and it is meant for doing enterprise analytics, and it helps to getting the data. So it has lots of components. It is an end-to-end solution where you can ingest data, transform it, and also visualize it. So it is helpful to get insights across data warehouse and big data systems. So essentially it's a combination of features or whatever strengths that a data warehouse had and a big data system had. So it's a combination of both, which is offered as a service on Azure. What are the different things which come as a part of Azure Synapse Analytics? So one is it uses SQL technologies which were already used in enterprise data warehousing. So anybody who has been working on databases, data warehouses, they are aware of SQL, and Synapse also offers you flexibility to use SQL. So the learning curve in that sense is pretty small. It has Spark technology also underlying. It has Spark pools that we can use and write our own Spark queries. There is a data explorer which can do analytics. So the data explorer helps us to explore the data and do log or time series analytics, different kinds of analytics. It has pipelines that are meant for doing data integration, ELT or ETL. So essentially, like I said, it is an end-to-end solution where you can use Synapse pipelines to ingest the data, transform it, aggregate it. We can use Data Explorer to do analytics and look at the data. It has both capabilities of data warehouse and big data. So we can use SQL, we can use Spark, both of them. Also, it has deep integration with other Azure services. So if we want to visualize, we can use Power BI. For ML, we can use Azure ML. So essentially, Azure Synapse Analytics gives an end-to-end solution from ingest till visualizing or doing analytics and applying ML algorithms on the data. This is a high-level picture or architecture which shows different components present in Synapse. So as we can see on the left-hand side, data can be ingested from various sources. It can be on-prem, clouds, any other SaaS offering which is exporting data to us, streaming data. All of that can be ingested using Azure Synapse Analytics. The underlying storage that Synapse uses is a Azure Data Lake Gen 2 storage. And whatever data we are bringing in through Synapse gets stored in the Azure Data Lake storage. The analytic runtime, if we talk about a runtime, it supports both SQL, Spark. There is also Data Explorer. There is something called Synapse Studio, and we'll talk about it in a bit. So that offers this whole end-to-end solution of integration, management, monitoring, and securing the data that is there in Synapse Analytics. And then at the rightmost side are the consumption points. So the data can be visualized because there is an integration with Power BI. ML algorithms can be built. There is an integration with Azure ML Learning, and also this can be integrated with Azure Purview service, which will help in data cataloging and lineage. So that provides an end-to-end solution. Now we will talk about some of the components of Synapse, or some of the terms that we need to understand, the features that we need to understand. So the first thing is, whenever we want to do some analytics on data or bring in data, the first thing we would do is we would create a Synapse workspace. Now what is a workspace? It is nothing but an instance of Synapse Analytics. So to use Synapse Analytics service, we would create a workspace which is just an instance, and that workspace would have a default data lake implemented, which is the data lake, Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So it is using a Gen 2 storage by default, And by default, whenever we create a workspace, it has that default data lake, which is actually attached to our instance by using a linked service. And we don't have to do that. By default, it comes with that kind of a underlying storage and a default data lake. Now we can go ahead and create attach many more storages to our Synapse workspace. We can do a lot more stuff, but by default, there is a data lake associated. So that's Synapse workspace, and that's the first step that would be done when we are working with Synapse Analytics. Then another good feature that Synapse provides is Synapse Studio. So if you see, there are multiple things on the left hand side in this picture which shows what all can we do with Synapse. We can bring in data, we can do our integration, build Synapse pipelines, we can monitor them and manage them. This Synapse Studio is a web-based portal that comes with Synapse Analytics, and this is used to build the data flows or the pipelines that we want, and we can visualize and look at things. And there are other options, of course. Web portal is just one of the ways of looking at things. There can be SDK based, CLI based, different kinds of implementations that can be done. The other feature that it provides is a pipeline. Now, a pipeline is for extracting data from multiple sources and then putting it into a central data storage. So, Synapse has built-in support for creating, running, managing pipelines, and it can orchestrate many things like ingestion, then doing a bunch of transformations, aggregations, etc., and then storing that data back into the data lake. So, this whole provisioning and the entire ETL or ELT that we want to do is done using Synapse pipeline feature. Now, one more important thing is the facility to have SQL querying, because we have been used to writing SQL queries from a long time, whether it was on RDBMSs or data warehouses. So Synapse also provides that because it's a best of the both world of data warehouse and big data. So Azure Synapse Analytics supports SQL based data query, and there are two types of SQL pools that it supports. One is a dedicated SQL pool and second is the serverless pool. So essentially in Synapse there are three types of pools that we can create: a SQL pool, a Spark pool and a serverless pool. So for SQL pool, these are the two variations. Now the SQL system uses a distributed query processing model so that the operations are parallelized, and that makes it very efficient in terms of running our queries. The other thing which it comes with is Spark support. Now we can create Spark pool. As I said, the third type of pool is a Spark pool. We can create Spark pools and write our code in an interactive notebook and then do our analytics. Now that analytics can include visualization, it can include machine learning or just simple queries to present it to a dashboard using Power BI. So we can use Spark as well and use a dedicated basically a Spark pool. Now comes the Data Explorer. So in the picture or the architecture diagram, we saw Data Explorer as one of the analytics engine. Data Explorer is a data processing engine that Synapse Analytics has, and it has its own query syntax which is named as Custo Query Language or KQL. It is meant for doing high performance, low latency analysis on both kinds of data, batch and streaming. So when we talk about analytics or our processing engine, the middle layer that we were seeing in the picture, it can have three forms: SQL, Spark and Data Explorer, with the language that it has, which is KQL. So these are the three modes of doing transformations. On the consumption part, there are multiple options. We have an integration with Power BI, with ML, there is integration with Purview. So if we want to catalog our data, now that is a very important part of data governance. To catalog data, to draw out lineage, Purview is a very simple to use SaaS offering. Similarly, Azure Synapse links are there. Now using that link, we can establish connections with different data storages or data lakes. By default, we will have a link created and a default data lake created when we create a Synapse workspace. that, and the underlying storage is a Gen 2 storage, data lake storage. But apart from that also, there are multiple integration points with different services that we can utilize for Synapse. So this is a very short and crisp video about what Synapse Analytics is, what are the different features or components that it has. I hope this has helped you to get a brief overview of what Azure Synapse Analytics is and what it is capable of. So please like, share and subscribe to the channel to get more interesting videos. Thank you so much.